This is the FieldRocket podcast. I'm your host, Tulloch, and this is my co-host, Aaron. And today we're joined by Terry, who's been a gas safe inspector and also works on the tools for many years.
A lot of engineers have had a concern email sent to them or a letter saying to them that an inspector is going to be going to visit on this day, this time. It's a horrible thing because for most engineers, for 99% of the engineers, this is it's their livelihood, it's their life, and all of a sudden they think, hang on a minute, I'm going to have my gas safe registration taken off me because of a complaint or a concern that actually, I would say a lot of them don't really turn out to be as serious.
So what actually, like if you're an engineer, if you get a complaint about use a gas safe, what happens in those cases?
So normally you'll be informed. You'll be informed that a complaint's been made against you. It will give the property details, address, things like that. Sometimes even as an inspector, you'll get sent out to something and you'll be thinking this probably isn't warranted, that we're on our way to do a complaint for this. We still have to test everything. I've seen some horrible looking boilers in my time. It doesn't mean that they're not safe, and it doesn't mean that they've not gone with building regulations. They might meet all them and tick all the boxes, but it might look horrendous. A gas pipe running up diagonally across a kitchen, from floor to ceiling at a diagonal. Well, there's nothing to say that there's anything wrong with it. But someone might make a complaint about that because someone else might go, oh, you can't have that. You should bring gas safe. So these things happen. I used to quite enjoy doing these concern visits, they were called. It was just a concern, not necessarily a complaint, because it's just a concern. Someone's got a concern about an installation of a gas pipe. And I had it before where we had concerns against someone. It doesn't mean, oh my God, my registration's being suspended. It means we're going to look at this, and if there is a problem, we're going to give you the opportunity to go and make it right. But you do that more than a few times, gas safe they're going to want to come and see you, and that's when things can sort of turn a lot worse, because if you don't perform well on that inspection after these concerns you've had, well, that's when gas safe will go, well, look, how many chances do you want to get it right? And really, you shouldn't really need that many chances to get it right. You should be going, yeah, I made a mistake, I'll fix it. I've learned from it, I won't do it again, and that's it. Take that bit of time. Take that time to actually do the checks properly, and that same thing applies to when you're doing gas safety checks. The whole point of doing it is to make sure it's working properly. So little things like that, I say to people, just spend that little bit of time getting it right, and it will not come back. The way I looked at it, you've got what the regulations say on one side, and then you've got common sense on the other side. Most engineers are going to go with common sense. I don't really want them to use that. I don't really want them to use that appliance. So there used to be, the way they used to do it, there used to be your warning labels, your stickers that went on the appliance used to say at risk or immediately dangerous. Do not use, all right? But that gave you sort of one sticker's really bad, one sticker's could be bad, So now there's just one sticker, the simple way of doing things, one sticker, danger, do not use. Okay, so I would say to people, well, if you're really worried about that appliance, talk to the customer, because these questions are pretty basic. If you were doing it regular, you would know the answers. You should know the answers. So there's that definitely helped me. But obviously, my knowledge increased massively when I joined Gas Safe, because you've got to know these things. Only the basics. I couldn't go out, and start working on LPG and things like that. But I had enough knowledge to be able to know if someone knew what they were talking about.